Hello YouTube. Welcome to the first ever TX Toasts video. I hope you are having a nice day. Alright, now, it's story time. Subtitles are available. Before diving into how I went to a TXT concert a week ago and have been messing with the LA girls ever since, I would like to provide some context. Though this video will only cover 2024, I should discuss a few notable events from the years prior. I have always tended to enjoy TXT's releases. In 2022, the name chapter, Temptation interrupted weeks of listening to exclusively hard rock, and it was enough to convince me to pay attention to upcoming K-pop releases for the first time in months. Aside from these three comebacks that I greatly enjoyed, which were from other artists whose music I also typically liked, I was still very much not into K-pop. I later went to a TXT concert for their Act Sweet Mirage tour, which was followed by a revisiting of and an obsession with Loser Lover and also somehow 5 months of Zerobaseone brain rot. I didn't vibe with ZB1's music and eventually lost interest around the release of their second album. Chasing That Feeling caught my attention in October, though I was not a fan of the album's B-sides. With that out of the way, allow me to set the mood for this year. After substituting pre-1990s trot and folk rock for K-pop for the greater part of a year, I took a break to listen to Korean R&B and hip-hop, which I followed up with more trot. In February, I decided to venture into ateez Korean pop, which led to me listening to more trot. I then finally began to explore 90s and 2000s hip-hop and some of the first K-pop, with a brief intermission to indulge in the sudden urge to re-listen to EXO's entire discography. After adding about 50 EXO and 50 90s and 2000s songs to my library, I listened to more trot. I spent March with more R&B and hip-hop again, of course with copious trot. The same month, a close friend asked me if I was interested in going to see TXT on their Act Promise tour. I said yes because of the great experience I had at their concert last year, and then decided to listen to some trot. It is April 9, 2024, and I have spent the last 9 days listening to trot. For the first time, I added a K-pop song that came out in 2024. Yes, out of nearly 500 songs I added in the first quarter of the year, not a single one of them was a K-pop song released this year. Now you might think I hadn't kept up with K-pop in 2024 if I didn't add any songs until April, but, despite the amount of trot I listened to, I actually did check out most major releases, even through March when I still hadn't found anything I liked. Notice how the title of this video says TXT Concert and not TXT Comeback. Adding Deja Vu to my library was far from an epiphany. In fact, I liked the song just enough to add it, and I stopped listening to it after only a handful of plays. To date, it is the lone 2024 K-pop release in my library, though I can say with absolute certainty that it will be one of many in a matter of days. Surprisingly, I listened to trot in the weeks leading up to the concert. Despite this, I was incredibly excited for the event. Going into it, I simply planned to have fun and enjoyed the music. My expectations were that TXT would again be incredible performers, and that the songs and atmosphere would be amazing. The day of the concert, I got to spend some time hanging out and decorating top loaders with the friends I would be attending with. On the way to the venue, we naturally listened to some K-pop and discussed the songs we were looking forward to. I was personally eagerly anticipating Loser Lover after experiencing a feeling that I can only describe as pure and complete happiness upon hearing it live last year. If you are attending one of the shows after this video is uploaded, please note the next section of the video contains spoilers for the setlist. Organized chronologically, this section serves as a collection of my thoughts throughout the concert. While Deja Vu was a great performance, I unfortunately hadn't fully processed that the concert was starting, which resulted in me not being able to enjoy the song to the fullest and not remembering much. My head was pretty much empty with the single thought of wow bouncing around. The eternally interlude thing gave me a jump scare, but it sounded so good in an arena. During the ment after Runaway, I started to settle in, and I was able to live my best life during Love Song. It's all fun and games until the devil by the window intro scares you so much you almost fall into the row in front of you. I don't have a lot of hope, but I really hope they release a studio version of Sugar Rush Ride traditional version. And then we have this. I actually couldn't stop laughing when Taehyun said this. Considering I said it at least 20 times in the day after the concert and I am pointing it out in this video, it was quite a memorable moment for me. Chasing that feeling was so good that I started to believe I was the inspector in Subway Surfers and was literally chasing that feeling, if this so-called feeling is a scrawny teenager named Jake. While I was not expecting chasing that feeling life to be a surreal experience, I was fully prepared for Lose a Lover. And yes, it was just as amazing as I remembered. The second half of the concert contains all of the songs I didn't understand until I heard them live. Number 1, Trust Fund Baby. I can't even defend myself for this one because this song is right up my alley. I think if this had been on the set list for last year's concert I would have had this realization then. Number 2, Quarter Life. Better late than never, right? Number 3, Back for More. Sometimes I really think I just hate having fun because why did it take me this long to realize Back for More is truly great. Then I took a short break from having a music taste crisis to be jump scared by the tinnitus intro because what? I swear negative time passed between the end of Back for More and the beginning of tinnitus. I also have to give kudos to whoever put Good Boy Gone Bad after Puma because it doesn't get better than that. Okay, back to falling in love with songs I thought I didn't like. Number 4, Deep Down. Actually, what was I on when I didn't like this song? Number 5, Miracle. There simply isn't any explanation other than that I hate being happy. Also, this song is just perfect for an encore. As we were exiting the venue, and on the entire way home, the Miracle performance was playing over and over in my head and I was pretty much giddy. It was probably just the adrenaline and excitement, but I was ready to experience the whole concert again. Remember that this video exists because of the effects of the concert, not just because I had the time of my life. I spent the first few days researching what other groups were going on tour this summer, listening to Back for More, and scrolling through TXT and a couple other groups' reels. On the 5th day after the concert, I had the feeling my music taste had shifted and I would be more open to a lot of K-pop songs I previously didn't care for. I set out to listen and re-listen to as many K-pop releases as I could find from the past couple years. I started by listening to some trot. Just kidding, I started with full discographies of a small selection of older groups. Yes, I know I just said recent releases. I am still not quite sure why I decided the best way to accomplish this was to start by listening to 2,800 songs from the late 2000s and 2010s, but alas. I added about 10% of the songs to a playlist for maybes, then moved on to a girl group playlist my friend kindly created for me. I hit shuffle. I added the first 5 songs to the maybe playlist. Remember that I listened to at least 200 K-pop songs from 2024 before adding a single one to my library. For me to add 5 out of the first 5 songs? Absolutely insane. It was at this point, 8 days after the concert, that I realized something big had changed. For the past 6 months, I had been listening to music that was dramatic and had some element of sadness. I had about 15 songs in the playlist I shuffled that I would just dance along to instead of having an emotional karaoke session. Chasing That Feeling and Sugar Rush Ride were 2 of about 5 K-pop songs in these 15 haha. I would like to note that despite listening to so much sad music, I was actually very happy. Jumping back to the present, I started to gain a new perspective on listening to music as a whole, in addition to liking songs I used to dislike. Listening to music is allowed to be purely fun. I don't need to feel an emotional connection to every song. A song doesn't need to suit my taste to a T for me to have an enjoyable experience listening to it. Some songs are meant to be fun and catchy, not vocal masterpieces, and they can still be amazing songs. While I did understand and acknowledge some of these ideas before, this experience made them much clearer to me. Where do we go from here? I think the bulk of the mindset growth has already occurred, so it's time to just continue loving listening to music. Of course, I will be greatly expanding my music library based on how my tastes have broadened. After finishing the girl group playlist, I will be making a boy group one. Then, I'll make a playlist with lesser-known groups and a final one with some R&B and other non-K-pop artists whose discographies I want to go through. I've also made plans for more K-pop concerts in the upcoming months. I want to build this channel as a place for me to talk about something I love without having to be around so much toxicity. I'd like to close this out with a thank you to Tomorrow by Together. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. That's all for now.